What are your thoughts on adding those to the schedule?
Well, I think it's a great new thing for our conference. I'm interested to see how it all plays out. You know, it definitely adds an element of travel. You know, for us being centrally located, most schools in Kansas are pretty accessible to us, but having some places that are a little further away will be a challenge. But great competition, great coaches. I think it's a great thing for our conference overall, so I'm really looking forward to it. It allows everybody to play more of a full schedule, where the old playoff system, you know, for 4 teams at least in our conference only got 9 games, so I think it's good for everybody.
You can do a better job explaining it than I can, so kind of tell people how this whole affiliation works and what it's going to mean for the KJCCC.
Well, technically it's called a scheduling alliance, and so some people have said Iowa is joining our conference. Those 3 schools are not joining our conference, so we'll still have a conference championship that will be determined by the best record of the 8 schools that play football in Kansas. But we're all playing the 3 Iowa schools, so we have that common opponent with everybody, and we at least have a 2-year deal set up with them, and we're hoping that it'll go beyond that. You know, I think that's the hope, is that it'll be a long-term deal, and but officially it's a 2-year deal right now, and you know, it's probably gonna bring about some neat new rivalries, you know, and some. Again, I think the fact that we're all playing the same non-conference games with the exception of 1 game is a real positive thing too.
Quarterback and running back are a couple of the question marks for your team. How have those shaken out so far?
From the quarterback standpoint, we have 2 young men that were with us this spring that we're excited about, both of them. It's real up in the air. The race is still ongoing. Dalton Demas from St. Louis, who's a transfer from Coastal Carolina, and Kalen Ben, who's a South Carolina State transfer from Columbia, South Carolina. Both those guys have a lot of positives they bring to the table. Really good guys. They're very coachable. They're both big. Kalen's 6'6", 240, and Dalton's 6'4", 200. They're both fast, 4'4", and 4'6", so they have a lot of tools. They both have some leadership ability, so we'll see how it all plays out. We did bring in a couple of guys from right here in the state, Chase Bell from Mays South and Ethan Loader from Smoky Valley High School, that are doing a great job this summer too. So I feel like our quarterback position, even though there's some uncertainty there, is going to be really good. I think we'll have great depth, and there'll be great competition, not just leading up to the season, but through the season. We'll be able to have a very competitive situation there. At running back, Braden Smith coming back is a huge thing for us. Wichita Southeast graduate. Would have been our best back last year, but had an ACL injury in fall camp. So he's back. He's 100% healthy. That's a big-time thing for the Dragons. We got Alvin Kamara transferred in and looked great this spring. He's a #1 running back in the country. Coming out of high school last year, went to Alabama and decided to make a move and transferred to Hutch in the spring. He's a great player. He's always cracked up to be. He, again, is the #1 JUCO back in this class coming out, and he's verbally committed to Tennessee, so that tells you what type of player he is, and we're excited about him. Another great addition, we picked up a Georgia Tech transfer, Travis Custis, and Travis is a different type of back than really Braden or Alvin. He's a big physical guy, 6'1", 225, and he'll be a load to bring down. So really excited about the backfield. And again, even though they're going to be different faces than what we've had back there, I think we'll be very good at those spots.
Dodge City was a team that came up and shocked some people last year. Do you see another team in the conference being able to make that kind of jump?
Well, that's a tough call to make. I can't tell you anybody specifically that I would say, hey, this is the team that's gonna maybe sneak up on somebody. But I think that moving to 20 out-of-state players and just some changes that have been made in the league in the last couple of years are gonna allow anybody the opportunity to make a jump and to improve, and so it'll be interesting to see how it plays out.
And finally, Butler has always been the hiccup. So do you feel like maybe this is a year you can take that down?
You know, it's going to be interesting to play them at a different time in the season than we have in years past. Typically, that's been kind of the last regular season game. You know, I don't know if that helps or hurts us. The fact remains that, you know, that's kind of been the monster that we haven't been able to conquer, and so I know that that's definitely on our mind. You know, we do spend a lot of time in preparation, thinking about that, and they do a great job with their program, and we feel like we do a good job with ours too. And so we just got to win on the field. You know, we went 6 overtimes with them one time last year, and then they kicked a field goal with less than a minute left to win the second game. So, you know, we're right there. We just got to make a few more plays to make the difference.